Hey, hey. All right. I'm tired from just that intro. How you guys feeling? All right. Well, I am so excited to have this conversation with you, Nalleli,
Me
because,
more.
first of all, you've been doing this work for over a decade,
Yeah.
and you're just 20.
I know, I'm just 20.
But tell us the story. How did you get started? And you started when you were 9, so tell us from the beginning.
Yeah, so I started my activism at the age of 9, but I didn't wake up one morning and decide I'm going to be an environmental activist for the rest of my life. I was essentially forced into this. I grew up 30 feet across the street from an active oil well called Alanco Energy, and Alanco operates on land leased to them by the Archdiocese of Los Angeles. So as a community, we like to say we're fighting three monsters: the oil industry, the Archdiocese without attacking the faith, and the broken regulatory system us people of color constantly have to fight against. When I was growing up, I was always a healthy little girl, and all of a sudden at the age of 9 I was having heart palpitations and had to use a heart monitor for several weeks. I got body spasms so severe I couldn't walk. My mom would have to carry me from place to place because I would just freeze up. I had nosebleeds so intense I couldn't sleep in my own bed. I had to sleep in a chair to not choke on my own blood at night. The list goes on and on. I have asthma. That's something I'm always going to have to live with now. And it wasn't just me, but my family and most of my community, as a matter of fact. So we turned ourselves from victims to survivors and fighters and activists, and we started a grassroots campaign. And I'm very proud co-founder of that campaign called People Not Pozos, People Not Wells. And we're a grassroots campaign in South Los Angeles that fights to permanently shut down Alanco. And I'm very proud to say that Alanco is shut down for 7 years, going on 8 this November. So yeah, that's my story. That's why I got involved. And a lot of people always ask like why I started so young or why I continue to fight, or the simple answer was just to pack up and move. But if I moved, another family would just come there and it would be the same thing. They were just going to get exposed and there would be no solution. And I fight because everyone has the right to breathe clean air. Clean air is a basic human right that's being denied to us in 2021 when we claim to be a progressive nation. Like, that's ridiculous. And we're not talking about that, and that's why I fight.
That's amazing. How did you find out that Alanco is drilling in the neighborhood?
Before I even found out Alanco existed, because I was so young, my body found out before. Like, my body was the first to fight against Alanco. It was those symptoms that made me go to the doctor, and then the doctor's just saying, I don't know what's wrong, or, let's send you to a neurologist. Maybe it's a brain tumor. Like, as a 9-year-old, hearing that maybe you have a brain tumor, do you know what I was thinking? Oh my gosh. Also, doctors should not think out loud with you in the room because that's traumatizing. But that's a different story. But I found out that Alanco was operating in 2011. In January 2011, Alanco had a week-long leak in which my community smelled horrific. Like, I can't even describe the smells. It was like rotten eggs mixed with even more chemicals, because they wanted to mask the smell on top of that. So they would add more chemicals to make it smell like cherries or guava or citrus or chocolate. So once that happened is when we realized that something was really wrong, and we started calling the South Coast Air Quality Management District to file complaints. And that's when they told us, Alanco has a leak. It's probably that you're smelling.
That's so insidious, because as a person who loves chocolate, if I was smelling chocolate, I would just breathe even deeper, right? And then that's just taking even chemicals deeper into your bodies. Can you say a little bit about how you found out who owned the land and what you did to appeal to those owners?
So the land that Alanco operates on is leased to them by the Archdiocese of Los Angeles. So I've always gone to Catholic school, first grade through all of high school. And it's because of that I felt it was my obligation to call them out. It's because of all the teachings that they tell us, like protect God's creation, let's love your neighbor, protect, stand up for each other, do what's right. And it's like, whoa, you're choosing profit over people's health. You're choosing profit over the people that serve the church's health, the people that are the church. Like, that's not something that Jesus would do. If we're being like, if we're talking about the church, that's not something like,
Right.
and when it came to, okay, and the head of like the Roman Catholic Church is the Pope. So I filmed a video and sent it to him in English and Spanish. And I also wrote a handwritten letter to him that was delivered in his hand. And I've gotten no response until now, unfortunately. If anybody knows the Pope, I would love to be connected. Yeah.
We're looking at you, Debbie. You know everybody.
I was like, anybody?
I'll work on it.
Sounds good. Thank you.
But you did talk to somebody significant to work on shutting down Alanco. Well, first of all, congratulations, because you got Alanco to stop drilling for 7 years. And then the news is it's been stopped.
Yes. So Alanco will not be able to resume operations, which is a really big win. And I know that, clap. Thank you.
Yes.
I know that, well, if we're being technical, Alanco shut down on good terms, if that's even a thing. But like, two sides to every story, they were forced, essentially. I mean, if they probably felt that they were pinned up against a corner because of our community's efforts. So it's because of our community that Alanco shut down, not because of them.
Okay, but that didn't just happen because they woke up one day and sobered up.
Yeah.
It happened because you had a meeting with Senator Boxer.
Yes. Sorry. So former U.S. Senator Barbara Boxer flew out and had a press conference with my community after the LA Times wrote an article about my community. She had a press conference right in front of Alanco, in front of my apartment building, and she pleaded them to cease operations. And even the U.S. EPA investigators, when they went to do an investigation at Alanco, they themselves were sick within 5 minutes of being inside the site and had to leave themselves because they could not stand it. So that's like,
Nice.
My community's awesome.
Yes, and you're awesome. You know? So we know that now Alanco and this drill has stopped, but has the fighting been won? Is it over? Is there more work to do?
There's always more work to do. I feel like just because my community was very fortunate, it's not the only community that's being affected by this. Like, Los Angeles is the largest urban oil field in the nation, and we're not talking about it. We're not talking about the 580 Angelenos that live within a quarter of a mile or less to an active oil and gas well, because we're too busy keeping up with the Kardashians. We're too focused on different worlds. And no, honestly, people think of California and they think of Hollywood, the glitz and glam, and that's 1% of it. Where's the rest? You know, we're people, we're not just statistics, we're real life people that work so hard day to day to live, to be able to have food on their tables. And at the end of the day, these corporations and these industries are thinking it's okay to poison us, it's okay to sacrifice us. And that's not true. We're not going to let that happen.
And you guys are not letting it happen because you're now working on a LA policy to create a buffer zone. Is that right?
Yes.
Yes.
So Stand LA, Stand Together Against Neighborhood Drilling Los Angeles. I invite you all to check it out. Stand.la is a coalition that fights tirelessly to now get a citywide phase out in the city of Los Angeles. And I invite you all to go on Twitter and go on at Stand LA and sign a petition that we have going around right now. We only need 400 more signatures in order to just be more proactive with getting that phase out passed to protect frontline communities.
I'm gonna slow this conversation down for a second. I'm gonna look at you guys uncomfortably because we're here at the Impact Summit. And as Debbie, Francis, Constance, others earlier, Wendy was talking about, this isn't a board or an organization that just talks at people. We show up. We go to Standing Rock. We actually do stuff for impact. And Nalleli is talking about getting just 400 signatures on this petition. Y'all got 400 followers, right? Y'all have some influence. Y'all have some platforms. Where do we need to tweet?
Go on my Twitter at Nalleli Cobo, NALLELI COB as in boy O, and it's most likely going to be the first tweet that you see. So I'll make it super easy for you guys. And while you're there, you can already follow me. It's also the same handle for my Instagram and Facebook to also stay up to date with fighting against and ending environmental racism and creating environmental justice.
I think that's so important. I mean, I look at you, I just think, oh, dear God, you've been doing this work for over a decade. I know you've been sharing that you are a recent cancer survivor. You've been doing this work since you were 9. None of us have any excuses. And when I look at you, I think our job to help our little sister over here is to encourage her, to support her, to cheer her on. So y'all follow her. I'm gonna make this super uncomfortable. Follow her, y'all. Follow her. Can I hear some applause for people who will do that? All right. Good stuff. And then beyond that, what else can people do?
I think, and the first thing in order to ever create change is educating yourself on the issue. You can't create change unless you know what's going on and what a possible solution is. And when talking about urban oil drilling, us frontline communities are the experts. You know, we've lived this, we've been on the front lines, our bodies have been sacrificed, we've suffered. And I think just listening to us and giving us the space to share is one of the best things you guys can also do, and then share with your platforms, because at the end you guys have a following, you guys are able to reach more people, and by sharing sharing each other's stories and uplifting each other is how we're going to create change, because there's power in people, there's power in unity, and there's power in numbers.
I love that. And beyond that, I was just thinking about just the leaders we have in this room, the businesses, the investors, the funders. As we talk about this issue, there was a report that came out today from Edelman, and they're just premier researchers. And they said, did y'all know 1 out of 5 people want to quit their jobs right now? 20% of people right now want to quit their jobs. I mean, I'm not going to say who in this room wants to quit their jobs. I'm going to let you guys figure that out. But people who want to quit their jobs, 60% of them want to go to companies that are doing something that is substantive, that they believe in, that is purposeful. And of that, 75% of them want to actually move their company to activism, right? I think that's super exciting, but yes. And Emma's been ahead of the curve. I think that's super exciting, but activism towards what, right? How do we make sure that they're doing the right things? What is your advice for companies and people who want to move in the right direction? What should they be doing?
I think if people just honestly follow their heart, and as cliche as that may sound, if you don't love the work that you're doing, you're not going to put your whole heart into that. And we need people that are 110% into this. Because if you're gonna half-ass it, it's not gonna help anybody, you know. And if your environmental racism isn't your thing, that's okay. We need people for animal rights. We need people in fast fashion. We need people for ocean protection. There's so many different realms or to be a leader, to be an activist, to help, to be a voice for the voiceless. It doesn't just have to be, oh, if you're not going to defend environment, if you're not going to try to end environmental racism, you suck. Like, no, that's okay. I know it's not everybody's passion, but it's mine, and maybe it's yours if you try it. And if not, we can connect and we'll find somebody else to help you. Like, it's okay.
Yes.
I think exploring and allowing yourself to be true to yourself and find something that is going to make you happy and you're going to wholeheartedly do.
Yeah. And they should have people who are helping to advise them, people who are at the front lines, who know what they're talking about. Because we know leaders like yourself who are proximate to the problems, knows what the complications are. I have found to be even more sophisticated to know what solutions will and will not work. I have found that the organic intellectuals and leaders in the communities are the best at knowing what are the solutions that we need. What is the most relevant stuff that we need to figure out right now? And to make sure that they're doing stuff that is aligned to the consumers, aligned to where the people are, aligned to the voters even. So speaking of which, when are you going to run for president?
2036. Vote for me. Yeah, I hope all of you guys will vote for me. Started campaigning early to get ahead, right?
There you go.
Yeah. So then when I'm actually running, I'm like, you started campaigning now? You slow boy. Like we've been campaigning in, what year is it? 2021. 2036. Nalleli Cobo.
What is it? 2036?
Yes.
All right, y'all. Give it up for President Nalleli Cobo, 2036.